Yes. I'm going to move down real quick to agenda item number 3, which is item 19, agenda items number 3, so I can get this taken care of. Discussion with possible action to ask Rogers County Sheriff's Office to coordinate with the County HR Director and the Commissioners to manage the courthouse electronic key card and hard key distribution in the administration of courthouse security, and to provide a written policy and procedure to carry this out. Anybody have anything? I'll make a motion to approve.
Can you, well, I have a question.
Yes.
Are we very clear on?
Can you explain what this is exactly? What does this entail?
What this does is puts the courthouse electronic key cards and hard key distribution. We're going to give this to the sheriff. He'll coordinate with the HR director on people that leave, people that come on, to make sure that everything, that we keep the names in there, and let the sheriff manage this system along with HR knowing what's going on. Which means hire, fires, all of those.
Well, in the Coon County Winter Time, I got 2 card keys right here. These employees are no longer here since February. These card keys still work. Everybody, it's no secret that they're not here anymore. It's just another example of, why this needs to be done. I don't know why we're even standing here talking about it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Well, let's discuss it some more. I'd like to know about that.
Okay.
Jenny, why are those still working? Are they working? Is that accurate?
I'm not sure.
They work good. We can demo them.
They weren't returned to me, so no.
Were these your employees?
Yes, they are.
Did you know that they were gone?
I don't know whose cards they are.
David Metz and Jerry Ragsdale. I mean, certainly aware of their departure with employment here, right?
I'm talking to the board. Jerry Ragsdale's key was actually used by their admin because their admin lost her key until she found it later at a different time. So I left that on.
Okay, what about the other one? What's up with that?
Not sure. I can look into it.
It's not active?
I'm not sure.
Oh.
I can look into it. But I mean, I no
Well,
longer
it's
have the administration of it, so.
I've got a motion on the table.
Well, since you're rushing it, I'll wait a second. I'd like to know more
Okay,
about
but
this.
hold on, I'm chairman of the board here.
I'd like to know more about this.
All right. What I'm saying is I've got a motion on the table. Do I not have a second? Then my motion dies from a second. Now, what do you got?
Tell me more about these cards.
What would you like to know?
He says they're active, they weren't turned off. That's your job, as far as I know, to coordinate with the sheriff's office, or his designee usually, to turn these keys off. He says they're on. Why?
They may be on. I'm not sure of why they could have been missed. Usually when I get the key card itself, that prompts me to turn it off.
So they were never turned in to you?
No.
You can turn them off anyway.
I can.
I mean, the termination package, and certainly HR handles the termination end of employment package. The examples go on. The exterminator called me one night. This has been months back. It's either Friday or Saturday night. And he comes in to do his work at that hour. And he just wanted to give me a heads up he's going to be in the building. I had no knowledge that he had a key to that or whatever. And I asked him, where he got the keys, at the commissioner's office. But we're talking about something here that, I don't think anybody can tell you who has keys or access to this building accurately. And there's 3 examples I just gave you. It's just our position, and Judge Condren had to go to her courtroom. If somebody wants to hear from the undersheriff or somebody besides me about these situations, we'll talk all day.
Okay. Judge Steinley.
Thank you, Chairman. Members, you have a letter from me, and of course my letter really speaks to the courts more than it does to the rest of the courthouse. But as an example, she has no authority over our employees whatsoever, and she's not going to have any authority over our employees. But by the same token, they need to be held accountable be able to account for if they're terminated, if they come on board, whatever. And I'm not saying this to be mean, I'm really not, and I don't want you to take it this way. But particularly with us, I think my letter makes it very clear that when it comes to our security, it's his job and no one else's. And quite frankly, we don't want it to be anybody else's job. Because he is an officer of the court, he is responsible to us. If he's a problem, we'll take care of it. I don't think he's going to be. I have no reason to believe that. But, you know, that's real important to us. This day and age, things are a-changing. We've been very fortunate here in this county not to have problems. And I hope and pray to the good Lord that we don't. But let's do everything that we can to make sure we don't have a problem. And again, I'm not trying to speak for the rest of the courthouse. I'll let you and the sheriff deal with that. But when it comes to our portion up there, we're the ones who get the people that are unhappy because they're getting a divorce. They're unhappy because their son's getting ready to go to prison. They're unhappy because they're in a protective order. They're unhappy because their daughter is in an abusive relationship. Everybody up there is unhappy. 10% of the people maybe are happy if they're doing an adoption, but that'd be about it. And emotions run high. And again, we've been blessed. We've been very fortunate not to have a major event here. And I pray that that doesn't happen. But again, let's do everything we can to make sure that it doesn't. I would beg you to let the sheriff deal with us and the sheriff alone, and when it comes to our security, including the cars. So that's all I've got to say. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay.
Please. I have nothing to do with the security of the courthouse, never have. I have the obligation of taking care of the key cards that the sheriff's office and I actually work very well together on getting this coordinated. And as a team, we have been working. If they would have told me these cards still worked and prompted me to say, hey, these are still left on, would have immediately taken care of. But withholding information from me just keeps the courthouse unsecure. That is an issue. But I have nothing to do with the security of the courthouse. I was obligated with these key cards. I work with the sheriff's office. I never give anything out that is not already approved by the board or by the sheriff's office. I do not just make up my own rules. I don't do anything on my own. I want it to be very clear. I do not have the security of the courthouse. I have the cards and the obligation of making the cards.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
It's said that you're in charge of security. I think there's, just for clarification, I don't think we've ever said that you're not statutorily required to be in charge of security. What we've said is the board is also the administrators of the courthouse overall. So it seems we're confusing security with the key cards, because like she said, she has nothing to do with security. I mean, that's all.
Okay, I'm not confusing anything with anything. First of all, and just to address the withheld information part, we don't withhold information from anybody in here about anything. If we did, it's because we can't find or communicate with our HR director because she's not here. But to get back on this deal for clarification, it's never been any fog in that explanation about who's in charge of this deal. Now, the only way that we, the sheriff's office, can say, you know, we absolutely, because trust me, when there's a problem with the card key, the sheriff's office will have to be the one that eats and absorbs that responsibility. If there's any problems with anything here, I mean, it's very clear in the statutes that it's our responsibility, and with that comes the liability. I'm very aware of that. There's never been, well, I mean, here we are discussing this thing again and again and again. If it's a security measure, I don't have enough people to do what we gotta do. So, but, I mean, we do accept the responsibility for what we're statute bound to do. We're gonna continue to do that, and I mean, so today our goal is to reach an agreement on this part of this deal and not be back up here again talking about courthouse security stuff and can we do our job. Again, I said it last week, I'm not asking for permission to do my job. I want to do it one way or the other.
Yeah, that's
Judge
nice.
Stidley.
Hey, I've got a question.
Just a second. Judge Stidley.
Again, I don't want to belabor any of this either, but when it comes to me, the security cards are a little bit different than a regular key, because anybody who has that can get access to, depending on, I guess, the way it's set up, various portions of the courthouse. And to me, that is an issue of security, it really is. And so that's why, at least for us, and I'm primarily here to talk about the courts,
Okay.
we would ask you to let this man be the one who, or whoever he makes responsible for that in his office, responsible for doing that.
Mr. Sheriff, on the not withholding information, if you lock the commissioners out again from different areas of the courthouse, will you at least notify us before you do that, like it was done last time?
Oh, certainly, yeah. If you're locked out of a place that, we don't think you need to be, we'll get a hold of it.
Mr. Iskey, who, would you address that? The fact that the sheriff's office locked the commissioners out of different areas of the courthouse when they had control of the key card machine.
Well, trust me, if
Is
there's
that-
an area we
that's
think
on
you
the
don't need to
agenda.
be
Oh,
in,
yes,
we'll
it is.
control that.
Oh, yes, it is.
Mr. Iskey, is that on the agenda?
Yes, it is. That is a key card access machine. That's on the agenda.
The topic of key cards is clearly on the agenda. I can't speak to Commissioner Thacker's question. I don't know what legal question you're asking me.
Can the sheriff's office lock the commissioners out of different areas of the courthouse just because they decide to?
If the sheriff controls the security, administers the security, he's in charge of making that decision. I think that's why the statute says coordinate and administer.
Judge Post.
Thank you. I'm Delozier. I just want to say two things very quickly. Number one is I am supportive of a letter that Judge Stidley wrote. My name's not on it, but I agree with what was in it. I think the rest of the judges do as well. That security is the sheriff's job, and that the sheriff is mandated by statute for both the authority and the responsibility. Number two, I really think that we have to define what security means. I mean, as a lawyer, and Mr. Iskey, I know agrees with that, what is security? Well, security is these key cards. It absolutely is. One day, I don't usually use the North, I want to give you an example. I don't usually use the North Stairway. But that stairway, it's the private stairway, right? Only key card access to that stairway, we all believe that. I don't know, I'm a little bit directionally challenged at times, and so I go pelting down the stairs, thought I was coming out, I don't know where I thought I was coming out, but I thought it was into the public corridor. I walked straight in the back door of the district attorney's office. I almost gave the young woman there a heart attack. I came bursting out of that door, and I said, "Where am I?" And she said, "Are you Judge Post?" And I said, "Yeah," and I guess I'm lost. And this was only about a month ago. So, they took me all the way, Iskey probably heard about this story, took me all the way back through. I saw everybody in the entire office. I shouldn't have been able to do that. That is security. If someone comes bursting in my back office door, it would probably give me a heart attack. That door's always locked because so many people go up and down those hallways. This is wrong. I mean, this is wrong. If you believe they're secure, they should be secure. Now, who did I call to complain about that to? The sheriff's office. Because they are in charge of security. That is a security issue. If they do not control the key cards, they do not own the responsibility. And I personally do not believe that it is an HR function. Never has been, never should have been, and it does not work well that way. We've been here nearly a year, gentlemen, and this is not working. Not working.
Thank you. Okay, I'm once again going to make a motion to turn all of this over to the sheriff's office.
Reason to ask for any further discussion?
If you'd like to discuss it further, go ahead. But I have a motion on the table.
Will you at least notify the commissioners if you're going to lock them out of the courthouse that they're in charge of overall? Would you at least notify them? Because your man, Major Coy Jenkins, has told me that because he's chief of security, is that correct?
That's correct.
Worked very well with Major Jenkins, by the way. He said he would give us a heads up
Well, it
if
says
you're
right,
going to lock us out, and that's all. That's
Certainly
really the
will.
only. That's the only.
it says right here, courthouse security and to provide a written policy and procedure to carry this out.
Yeah.
So that can be put in the written procedure,
Right.
policy and procedure.
I mean, that's
Once again,
that's my only
absolutely,
issue.
yeah.
I have a motion on the table.
That's the only issue, and that's all, I'm just asking for the courtesy that the commissioners can be allowed to move about the courthouse, that they administer. That's all I'm asking.
We'll certainly do that.
I've got one question,
Yes, sir.
since you have a motion. Judge Stidley,
Yes, sir.
would you come on up here?
Sure.
Your whole letter to us was in effect related to the courts.
Correct.
That's my understanding, right?
Well, that's I deem that my job and my responsibility, so I'm not trying to get into other people's
Since
business.
you said that, leading to my next question. You deem my job as what?
I deem your job as basically the public policy setters, the administrators of the county.
Okay. By working together, we can come to some compromise where your security and our security is
Absolutely.
just the same, right?
Sure.
You know, when you make, and I'm just gonna speak about one, the statement that, you know, the fear is up there, and that you deal with people that are very angry. We're out on the county roads, and we deal with people very angry also. I will reflect that this weekend, unbeknownst to a lady, but she was crushed in the work zone. I mean, we live in the same dangers too, would you not agree?
Well, I'm not trying to belittle
Okay, there you go.
anything that
That's
you all
all-
have to deal with.
that's all I
I mean,
wanted
you
to
got the treasurer, you got the assessor,
Thank you.
you've got all those people that have mad folks. I
That's all.
agree with
Okay.
that, yeah.
I just want to say there is a common bond between you,
Yeah,
your office and mine.
I don't disagree with that at all.
That's
I
all.
mean, again, we are very blessed in this building and in the building before, to have not had a situation where somebody's been hurt, and particularly as we continue to grow, you can just expect that to continue. But again, I think if we all work together,
There you go.
I think we can keep that from happening, and that's all we're trying to do, and I know you all are trying to do the same thing. This isn't an attempt to try to get into a battle with you all, it's not that at all from our perspective. We appreciate everything you do for us, and we're gonna continue to do that.
Well, from me, I appreciate your professionalism to come and visit with me about this.
And I appreciate the opportunity to talk to all three of you. Thanks.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir. The only thing I gotta say about it, and it's like the judge said, I respect his word, we're in a different world nowadays, plain and simple. We got terrorists everywhere. We got bombings going off in other states, and you take Boston. The safety of our county depends on who comes in and who comes out of this building. Now, the only people that we elected to office to do that was Sheriff Walton and his people. If we don't protect, we could be one of the ones being on the news having bombs going off in our courthouse. So the security needs to be tightened. It needs to be done in an order to where people are safe coming in and out of this building. So I agree with the judge and the other judge on what they're saying. We need security here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion on the table.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Iskey? Sir. If, Mr. Jones has laid out a scenario here, if, God forbid, that happens, and someone is maimed, killed, whatever, and someone sues the county, if we turn this over to the sheriff, will they still name the Board of County Commissioners in the lawsuit?
Absolutely, by statute, they must.
Okay. Okay, so we're still liable for what the sheriff does as well.
Yes. But let me answer it this way. The taxpayers of the county are liable, you are a named party as the representative of the taxpayers.
And sometimes they sue us individually.
But if we show that we've done everything correct, we may be named in it, but that's gonna make a difference.
If we're named individually, can our insurance, will that pay for the liability?
I have no idea.
Well, that's not on the agenda, I'm sorry, that is not on the agenda. You know what, I'll second that.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
Thacker,
Aye.
motion's been carried.
All right, now let's back